the Fox Network Center, here's Chris Myers.
Welcome back to the show, and thanks for staying with us. In 1966, a gangly kid from Texas flew into Major League Baseball, raising the temperature of the game forever. Although he was soon dubbed the Ryan Express, it would have been hard to predict that Nolan Ryan would still be throwing 100-mile-per-hour heat in the 27th year of his career. They tried to lure him into Texas politics, but Nolan Ryan, the consummate fireballer, is more at home on the range.
Nolan Ryan, the 2-0 pitch. Fly ball, right field.
Nolan Ryan shattered more than 50 Major League records. He's the all-time strikeout leader and threw an unthinkable 7 no-hitters, including his final one against the A's when he was 44 years old. He took the mound for 4 different teams during his career: the Mets, Angels, Astros, and Rangers. Next week, Ryan joins an elite club in Cooperstown. He received 491 total votes, the most in the history of the Hall of Fame. Nolan Ryan joining me now from the ballpark at Arlington, where he finished his distinguished career. And Nolan, making it to the Hall of Fame means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But what does Nolan Ryan in the Hall of Fame mean to you?
Well, I think it's the final chapter of my career, and I think when you get selected to the Hall of Fame, that it represents the fact that over the length of your career that you were durable and that you were in a position to accomplish a lot of things, and so I feel very good about it.
You received more votes cast than ever before. You'll join people like Hank Aaron and Ty Cobb, Babe Ruth, Tom Seaver. Your name alongside those, when you were playing the game, did you ever envision that you'd be in that kind of company?
Well, I don't think that as an active player that I really put myself on that level. I think that when you think about Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig and Joe DiMaggio and Walter Johnson and Cy Young, that you hold those people in special esteem, and that I feel very fortunate that I got to face as many Hall of Famers as I did, and there's one thing about it: they were all tough outs, and they were all big competitors.
Who was the toughest out for Nolan Ryan?
Henry Aaron, when I first came up, I thought was for a power hitter. He was a good hitter, and he was a very selective hitter. I thought he was as tough out as there was in the National League in those days. I think George Brett was as tough out as there was. Pete Rose gave me a lot of trouble.
You played for 27 years, longer than anyone else, and pitched through that time, which is really amazing when you think about it. What was the key to your longevity?
Well, I think that the key was that the aging process didn't affect me as early as maybe it did other people, and then I think I was able to stay away from any career-threatening type injury where it took away my ability to pitch.
You hung around, obviously, in pitching into your 40s. Your body wasn't too old to kick Robin Ventura's butt, or at least that's the way it looked, out on the mound. You can chuckle now. It was 1991, a game at Arlington against the White Sox, and Ventura was 24. You were 44, I believe, and he charged the mound after you hit him with a pitch, and you had him in a headlock, from what I recall, and had him going pretty good. When you look back on that incident, what comes to mind?
Well, when it happened, I was disappointed that it happened. Then I was embarrassed that it got so much publicity. And now that I've been away from it, I realize that a lot of people viewed that because of the age difference. It was almost like a statement. And so I think I have a better perspective of why people reacted the way they did.
Nolan, maybe you know how many times you were charged by opposing batters in your professional career. What would that number be?
Well, pitchers don't forget those type of things. It was 3. Willie McCovey and Dave Winsfield was the other one.
What do you recall about the previous 2?
Well, that they were extremely big.
So you weren't going to get them in a headlock. Oh, that's why you took it all out on Robin Ventura.
Well, after Dave Winfield, and he tried to tear my head off, I made a decision then. If it happened again, I had to make the assumption that whoever came out there, their intent wasn't just to come out and visit with me, and that I wasn't going to take a passive position.
Do you think if you were pitching in today's game, Nolan, that you would be charged more often? It seems like that the batters are less patient and that the pitchers have less flexibility when they're pitching inside.
When I came up, you were taught to establish that you would pitch in, and now it's been put into the umpire's hands where it's at their discretion whether they want to eject you or not if they think they know what your intent was. And so you see hitters diving into the ball. You see hitters wearing all this padding nowadays, so the game's changed, and nobody seems to establish that they'll pitch in and they don't pitch in.
So Nolan Ryan, even in his prime, would have to pitch differently by today's standards, correct?
Well, no, I'm afraid I would have problems pitching the way I do pitch in today's standards.
Because the guys would be running out of the mound every other minute with you, right?
I may be sitting in the dugout a lot. I don't know.
Or they'll toss you out of the game. Do you think the home run, and I don't know if the ball is being made a certain way or if the pitching is that much thinned down, but it just seems like we're seeing a lot more, and almost the home run is being cheapened a little bit today.
What we're seeing is I'm seeing balls hit places in ballparks that I pitched in and out of for 25 years. I'm seeing balls hit 100 feet further than any ball I've ever seen hit, and I don't have an explanation for that. I don't know if they're going to make changes over the entire length of my career. Every change that they made in baseball went against pitching, and now I think that all those changes have created an offensive game, and I think a lot of people feel like they would like to see that pendulum swing back the other way, but you know, there has to be a happy medium there. Would you be in favor of some rule changes that would favor pitching? Well, I'd like to see them raise the mound back to where it was when they brought it down in '68, after the '68 season. And I'd like to see them expand the strike zone. I don't think raising the strike zone, as they talked about doing this year, has any impact, because there's very few pitchers that are going to be effective pitching in the upper part of the strike zone. Most people thought, presumably, that you would finish your career with the Astros. Even you thought that. But after consistently striking out more than 200 batters a season, you were asked to take a pay cut. So you didn't sign there. You went on and signed with the Texas Rangers. Are you still bitter about that today? Well, I'm not bitter, because I'm a believer that you take a negative and turn it into a positive. And I did think that I would retire as an Astro. And when the realization set in that wasn't going to happen, I was disappointed that I was going to have to make a move. But as it turned out, it was probably the best move in my career. Yeah, because with the Rangers, you're in your 300th win, your 5,000th strikeout happens, plus no-hitters number 6 and 7, and all this for a guy who was in his 40s. So is that the reason behind you going into the Hall of Fame as a member of the Rangers? Well, it is. I think my years with the Rangers here brought my career to another level. Some very neat things happened to me while I was a Ranger. As you get closer to the day, the hour, the moment, will it be emotional for you? Oh, I think it will be. I think that anything that has dominated your life, and so many people have played a part of that, when you come and you sit and you reflect about what has happened in your life, in your career, and there will be people there that shared those experiences with you and played a role in that, I think it will be very emotional. Well, thanks for all the memories. You've been a joy to watch over the years, and you certainly deserve your place in the Hall of Fame. Nolan Ryan, thanks again, and we appreciate you being with us here on Goin Deep. Well, thank you. I appreciate it, and I enjoyed it. And Ryan is still involved in the Ranger organization. He owns an Astro minor league franchise. He was appointed by Governor George W. Bush to the Texas Parks and Wildlife Commission, but says his political aspirations go no further than that. He did tell me he supports the governor for president. Coming up, we head north to Alaska, to a playing field where stars like Mark McGwire and Randy Johnson hone their game.
There's going to be a lot of scouts there, so it should be a good time to get some exposure.
Up next, baseball in the land of the midnight sun.